Hi, my name's Rob Triggs, and this is my story. My backstory, I went off to college and went to electronics school. And when I graduated, I got a job putting cell phones and two-way radios in cars. And someone said, hey, Xerox is hiring. So I went and applied, and I got hired as a service technician. Long story short, I used to go and speak to every new sales class about the technology to simplify it for them. By doing that, the head of the sales training department said, you should go into sales. So I got hired, and the moment of truth came. I had to do my first cold call. So I walk into the office, I see this lady sitting there, this nice receptionist, and I start to say what I needed to say, and I got nervous, I stuttered, I turned bright red, and I quickly turned around and left. So I got about 6 months in, I'm not doing well. I got all this negative self-talk. And my younger brother lived far away, and I was talking to him one night on the phone, and I said, I think I'm just gonna go back to service. I don't think I'm cut out for this. And he said, well, don't do that. I'm gonna send you this book that someone sent me. It's called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill. So I'm reading this thing, but it's talking to me, it's speaking to me, it's telling me what I should be doing. So anyway, I devoured this thing. I read it quickly. And then I just changed my mental perspective. I did so well that I ended up being the Rookie of the Year at Xerox, which is a big award. But not only that, I was the Sales Rep of the Year. My career flourished from there. Fast forward a little bit more, and a movie came out called The Secret. But The Secret is this documentary about the law of attraction. It drove a point home that there is a very simple way to be successful in life, and it's sitting right there in front of us. And we just have to grasp it and do it. So the Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, that book gave me the foundation, the beginnings of that. The Secret drove it home that there's a lot more to this. And so I started to become a student of what it was teaching us in that movie. Next thing I knew, I was on a plane to San Diego to go meet John Assaraf. In the movie, if you've never seen it, he used to use a vision board. And he would take this vision board and put all the pictures of all the things he wanted to achieve in life. And he took a picture of a home and he put it there. Over the years, he packed it up, moved to a new house, had a family. His young son, in the movie they show all this, his young son, he sees this vision board when they're unpacking, when they moved, and he said, Dad, what's this? And he looked at it and said, that's my vision board, I forgot all about it. And he started to cry, and he said, the house in the picture is the actual house he's living in. I felt compelled to go meet this guy, and I did. I went, sat in that house that was on the vision board, and I ended up working for him for a little while, for a company called One Coach. That was a very powerful experience for me. There was another person in the movie named Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor's program was all about, he says, thoughts become things. So if you think negative, you're basically manifesting negative. If you think positive, you're manifesting positive things. But then I met Kathleen Cameron. So Kathleen Cameron was a protege of Bob Proctor. Kathleen's another Canadian that wasn't overly happy with her life. She found Bob Proctor, did his program, and jumped in head first. And she uses the word embody, but she embodied the material, and Bob said, like nobody else ever did. So when I met Kathleen, I met her through my wife. My wife was going through one of her programs. I could see my wife change. And so I went through Kathleen's program, and it changed me. And it gave me the structure, and it gave me the tools I needed to go from thoughts become things and actually make that happen in my life. A lot of the success that I've had is based on these principles. And I've been working in business, helping companies grow. I helped a small company go from 6 people to over 100 people and get acquired successfully.
Rob joined us in the time where we were growing quickly, but he helped us grow even more quickly into the largest independent partner in Canada. And for that, we do appreciate everything he's done.
I've learned so much from Rob. I think I am starting to use his analogies. I'm starting to use his stories as if they're my own.
With Rob, the most important lesson I've learned is the relationship between sales and marketing. He calls it smarketing, and the entire company has adapted this term, and we live by it.
He leaves a legacy of a huge number of clients, a vast number of ways in which we've interacted with clients.
He has inspired me to reach for growth in multiple levels.
The past 12 years, from our first personal training session to selling side by side to the biggest logos of my career, you've been there as a friend, and as a mentor.
We're helping people apply these things so they can rapidly get to the success. And knowing how to sell and knowing how to do what I've done in business, applying that in an authentic, genuine way is really what I'm all about. That's who I am. And that's my story. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining the webinar today. I hope you liked that video. Every time I watch that video, I get choked up. I don't know why. I guess when you see your story on the screen, it has a tendency to do that. But welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're coming from, whatever time of day it is. Hope you're having a great day. Today, I have a packed agenda for you. I'm going to be talking very fast today because I want you to leave here with the most value possible. So my name's Rob Triggs, and I'm the owner and founder of a company called RTR, Rapid Transformational Results. So what is it that we do? Well, what we do is we help people who are responsible for selling. So you could be a salesperson, you could be an entrepreneur trying to sell your company's products or services. You could be a sales leader, someone who's responsible for driving a sales team. If you fall into any one of those three categories, you are absolutely in the right place today. Let me tell you that. For some of you, you've probably never met me before. And some of you may have been following me on social media. Some of you might have worked for me in the past. I've had lots of people work for me over the years. As my story said in the video, I've been doing this for a very long time. And what do I mean by doing this? I mean selling things. I got my foundational start at Xerox, service technician to sales. Even though I was a reluctant seller, I didn't want to go into sales. I never thought I'd be a salesperson. In some cases, people feel sales is a bad word. It's a dirty word. I think sales is a beautiful profession. I didn't go to school and tell my mom and dad, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to school and I'm going to be a salesperson. I didn't do that, but I've spent the last 27 years learning to sell, applying what I've learned, managing teams, growing companies, selling companies, coaching people. I've taken people that come from different walks of life that have nothing to do with sales and become tremendous salespeople. One of the people in the video there, Eric, I don't know if you noticed him there, he was my personal trainer at a gymnasium. I decided to get myself into shape. So I went to a gym and I signed up for the training program where you hire a certified coach. Eric was my coach. And we've worked together and I've helped him flourish in his career. So I am here to help you do the exact same thing. Whether you only see me for the next 45 minutes or you decide to join my community and become a customer and take advantage of all the wonderful things that I offer, I want to welcome you and I want to bring you the most value that I can from the session together. So you should be able to see my screen, and here's the agenda. So those of you who have signed up, you read my promotional material, you probably listened to the videos and you thought, hey, there's something about that guy. I think I should go spend an hour on this call. So thank you for investing your time. As a salesperson, your time is your most valuable commodity. So you are spending it with me, and I appreciate that. I'm going to bring you great value today. So these are the areas that I want to focus today. So I'm going to do in an hour what I typically do in my courses and things like that. So I'm going to leave you with things you can apply today, and I'm going to reach out to you to form a relationship with you so that if you want my help further, you can do that in a way that's comfortable to you. All right. But I love starting with statistics. So let's start with this one. 53% of all sales opportunities are lost. If that was a statistic for planes flying, you'd never get on an airplane. Only half the chance that your plane's going to land safely. If surgeries, what if only 53% of the surgeries were successful? You'd never go see a surgeon. So here we are living in a profession where half of what we do doesn't manifest itself into the outcome that we want. As far as I'm concerned, that's a problem. And if you're stressed out, you're going into probably the prime time of your year right now is September, October, November, and the first part of December, from my experience. So you're in the thick of it right now. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching it on the recording, I feel for you. This is the time to make hay. I used to have a manager that had thousands of sayings. He should have wrote a book. And the one that is the most popular, you've probably heard it before, make Hey, why the sun shines. So right now, the sun is shining. This is when people make decisions. So your activity level should be through the roof and your mindset should be in a positive place. Regardless of the economy, regardless of what's going on in your industry, you're in control. So how do we go from 53% of the opportunities are lost and all that wasted energy and time? How do we go to winning more of the opportunities so we're not having so much wasted energy? Well, the very first thing it starts with, and whether you believe this or not yet, if you come close to me, you're going to believe this. Your mindset dictates what happens. Think about that for a second. When you're preparing to go in to see a customer, whether you're going in to have a first meeting, you're going in to do a presentation, you're going in to do a demo if you do demos in your business, whatever you're going in to do, if you show up with lack of confidence, if you show up with hesitation, maybe you know you're competing against the toughest competitor in your industry and that's in the back of your mind. Maybe something happened at home that morning and you're carrying that with you when you walk in the door. Do you realize how much impact that's having on your success as a salesperson? I don't care if you've been trained on the best sales training programs in the world. I was. I worked at Xerox back years and years ago. Xerox is world famous for the level of sales training. And believe me, it's true. It's very true. But I walked out there and I was a service technician. So like I had a belief that I wasn't a salesperson. I had a belief that that person doesn't want to talk to me. That person doesn't want to buy my stuff. They want to buy Canon. They want to buy something else. So my brain was littered with these things, these thoughts. And they weren't even really beliefs or negative beliefs. They were thoughts I was having. But then what would happen is my body language was telling a story. It told a story that I'm not for you. I'm worried. I'm nervous, whatever it is. And until I changed that, I was floundering. Like I almost, in the video, I don't know if you caught it, but I almost quit. I'm almost 6 months into my career as a salesperson at Xerox, and I almost quit. My brother, you see the book on the back here. My brother sent me that book. It's in the shadow box there. Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill. And that book was written back in the 40s originally. And man, I wasn't into self-help books at that point in my career, but I got this book and I read it. And I changed my mindset into something that served me better. I'm going to talk to you today about two things. I'm going to talk to you about mindset, and I want you to open your mind because I know some of you are probably going, "Oh, that's woo-woo. That's I don't believe in it." There's a big awakening happening in the world, not just in business, but in all areas of life, where our ability to control our thoughts dictates the success we have in life. And if you follow sports, professional sports at all, talk to a PGA golfer and ask them, how did you go from sort of, before PGA to there and get to the higher levels? They're going to tell you it wasn't more practicing physical muscle memory stuff. They do that. They all do that. It's their mind, right? So I'm going to help you today with mind, but today's session, I do these every month. Today's session is very tactical. I'm going to share with you a tool that I'm very proud of. But before we do that, let me go to the next slide. Okay, now look at this picture. I'm not the best artist. I should pay someone to create a graphic for me, but just stick with me for a minute. So that line represents your career as a salesperson, whether you're an entrepreneur, manager, or salesperson. That is your sales mastery continuum, the scale. You're on that line somewhere. I've decided to put you sort of, 1/3 of a way along. So if you're on the far left, you're at the very beginning, foundational capabilities of selling. When it comes to mindset, you might be kind of interested or curious, but you're by no means what we call awakening yet. You're starting to, maybe. On the very far other end of the scale, you're a master, right? You can be plopped into any situation and like a Navy SEAL or a red beret or green berets, I think they're called. They drop them in and they can just do what they got to do. All right. So I want to take you on a journey to get you to that level of mastery where you plop yourself down in a company that has an unlimited compensation plan and you can make millions of dollars as a salesperson. Did you know that's possible? There's three ways to make lots of money. Number one, start your own company. Not everybody has the stomach for that, but start your own company is probably the best. Number two, invest in things to get your money to work for you. That requires money to do it, but you should be doing that if you're not. Get started. The third one, you're already doing it. You have a position where you can make as much money as you want, right? And if your comp plan is not unlimited, you need to go find a company that's willing to pay you an unlimited compensation plan. If you're an entrepreneur already, you're in an entrepreneurship for a reason, right? So let's teach you how to do this. So I'm going to move you somewhere from where you are on that line further to the right today. Just today, in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to move you. And if you do become closer and come to my community and start interacting with the other assets and tools and different systems I have, we're going to rapidly move you along that line. All right. We're going to actually have Adrian's going to join us a little bit later, and he's going to share with you his experience so far going through the different programs that we have. All right. There's something called the ladder of belief. When it comes to manifesting, manifesting means having a vision for something that you want to achieve. So if you're a golfer, you want to win whatever match you're in, right? And so, but then you break it down to the shot by shot. And so in your imagination, human beings, as far as we know, are the only creatures in the world that have imaginations. All other animals and living creatures have instincts and things like that. So we have an imagination for a reason. So the imagination allows you the ability to imagine what you want to happen. So you close your eyes and imagine what you want to happen. So if you're thinking about your career as a salesperson, you close your eyes and you imagine what you want to happen. Once you've done that, you start to build this vision of this successful person. Maybe you can actually see yourself on stage next year at the sales kickoff, winning the top award for the top salesperson in your company. I've been there, I've done that. It's an amazing experience. So imagination turns into vision. Now, if you practice the vision enough, you can use meditation, you can use different tools to do that, to make sure the vision you have for your success, you believe it. You can actually feel the feeling. In fact, there's a board on my shelf here up at the top. You probably can't read it, but that says in my very messy handwriting, feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So whatever your wish or vision is, you feel that feeling. And as you feel that feeling, you believe like it's already here. That's when you walk into meetings and you feel like you can just take over the world. Now, some salespeople already have that confidence. They have that swagger. But sometimes they come across overconfident, too much swagger. And when that happens, the customer repels a little bit. They pull back. So even though you feel great because you're super confident, uber confident, you're pushing the customer away. You don't want to do that. You want to be able to match and mirror their level of energy. And that's a whole different topic for another day, but that's what you want to do. So ladder of belief. You go from imagination to vision to believing to knowing. Once you get to knowing, this becomes second nature, just like a PGA golfer. All right. So today, depending on where you are on this ladder of belief, some of you may not even be at the imagination stage yet, and that's okay. That's actually a normal state. We're going through each day hoping we're going to be successful. But if you do this well, here's what happens. You actually get the courage, okay? The courage to be in a situation in front of customers where the clarity comes because you're not thinking and worrying. Your brain's not running 16 programs thinking, so you're not in the moment. So the clarity allows you to qualify better when you're with a customer. Qualify means asking questions. The greatest gift you have as a salesperson is the ability to shut up when it's appropriate. You have two ears and one mouth. Use them in that proportion. I used to be told by my manager. But when you do speak, you're asking lots of questions. You're being very curious. And if you have the right mindset, then you can ask questions. We're going to focus on questions today mainly. So I think you're going to like it. So if you do this, you'll be able to reduce that 53% of deals don't close because you're going to focus on the actual opportunities that require your time, or that not even require, that will be the best fit for you to win. So you're working a lot less and you're winning a lot more. How does that sound? Most salespeople will run after everything. I can do it, boss. I can convince them to pick us. And that's commendable as a salesperson. That's what we're paid for, right? We're paid to convince companies or businesses to buy the product or service. But if you run after everything, you're going an inch deep, a mile wide, and you're never going to be at the level of success of mastery like I talked about earlier. So here's some alarming statistics. So 75% of companies offer formal sales training programs. That's amazing. How many of you have been formally trained in sales? Probably maybe 75% of you, if this stat's true. The second stat, though, is 46% of organizations don't provide training beyond the initial onboarding. So you start a new company, you get some training, and after that, you're on your own, right? And the funny thing about being on your own, not enough salespeople are investing in themselves to become the best they can be at their career, right? Maybe you buy a sales book. You might go to a conference once in a while if your company pays for it. I don't know how many people pay for their own conferences, but you should be sharpening your saw. You should be learning how to apply new skills and tools. You should be learning how to use AI so that you can, if you're not already, you should be already doing that. But the last thing, look what that says. 55% of sales leaders felt their current training program is effective, but it offers limited results. So what's that all about? I remember doing some training programs. Some of them were long, like a week long. And you get the survey and everyone's, that was the best training program ever. I loved it. Everyone's all, yeah, high five, or go for beers after. It's really, really good. Here's the problem though. It didn't work. It didn't work. Look at this stat. This study shows that without reinforcement, 90% of the sales training content is forgotten within 90 days. So if you have any questions or any comments, please put them in the chat, put them in the Q&A section. But does that resonate with you? It resonates with me because I remember going on lots of different sales training programs. And then when I go back to my job, I would default to my natural state of selling in most cases. Even my manager wouldn't manage me in any different way from the sales training. They would manage me the way that they have always managed me. So if I learned a new technique or a new forecasting tool or whatever it is, if I wasn't getting it reinforced and someone wasn't helping me make sure I use that and go through the change management that's required for people to learn and use and adopt a new skill, it's not going to work. So that's why I've created my company, so that I can not only make sure that you've got the sales skills that you need, but you actually have the mindset to get out of your own way. So when you combine that, it's kind of like I provide the game plan, the roadmap of leveraging mindset and sales skills together to finally have the success in sales that you're looking for. And the last company I worked for, there was a lady named Kristen. And Kristen was our vice president of marketing. And she made a comment one day. It was a lot longer than this. But what she said was, I was talking to my husband in the kitchen the other day, and I said to him, when Rob gets involved in deals, we win. And she goes, I don't know how you do it. And I said, well, every opportunity has its own life, but there's a pattern to them. And there's a series of things that has to be true in an opportunity for it to win. And I don't even care what you're selling. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be a mixture of both or others. And over the last 27 years as a seller, and probably the last 20 years as a sales leader and teaching and coaching people how to sell and managing a forecast, telling the company I work for what's going to close, what's not, there's a series of questions I would ask. So what I've done is I've taken those questions and I've turned it into something what I call the opportunity genie. So imagine a genie, you get this lamp and you rub the lamp and you say, lamp, will I win this deal? And the genie comes out, just like in the Disney movie, the big blue Robin Williams genie, and the genie comes out and says, no, you won't win that deal. So then you can go off and do something different instead of waste your time. Or the genie says, yes, you're going to win that deal. That's what the genie does. Now, I have different flavors of genies. So the one I'm going to talk to you about today is included in my sales training program. It's my most robust opportunity Janie to date. And so this one is 50 questions, 50. So there's 50 questions. And what you do is you basically go through each one and you ask yourself the question. And if your answer is yes, you give yourself the allotted points for that question. If your answer is no, you don't give yourself the points. And you go all the way down in the end. And when you're done, it'll add it up for you. And then you say, do I have enough points to win this deal or do I not? And if you don't have enough points to win, but you're close, you go back and turn the no's to yeses. And if you're way down the list and your number is really, really low, you just walk away and you go tell the customer you're going away. This opportunity is not a fit for us, and you move off. Actually, there's a whole strategy there how to turn those around. I'm not going to talk about that today, but there's a whole strategy there too. Okay, so opportunity genie. This is what we're going to talk about today. So if you're not listening right now and you're doing a proposal for a customer, bless you, because that's important stuff. But I want you to listen for the next 15 minutes. Listen to this, okay? Because this is what you came for. This is what you're spending your time on. The opportunity genie, looks something like this. So I've redacted it because I don't give this for free as part of my program. I could sell the opportunity genie for 20 grand by itself because it's going to help you win deals, but I don't do that obviously, but here it is. That's what it looks like, okay? It's basically like a spreadsheet. And let me turn my pointer on, my little laser pointer. Okay, so the first question here, what I've done is taken the top questions I want to talk about today, what I think some of the top 7 are, and I've made a slide for it's easier to read. So I'll go into that in a minute. But this is what the actual tool looks like. And I've covered this one so you can't see all the questions. But okay, do you know, so here's the question. Question number 1. Do you know the customer's primary challenge, problem, and pain point? Do you know how many times I would ask a salesperson that said they're going to close a deal that question and they would say, I don't know. Right? So you're probably reading that question and go, yeah, that's obvious, Rob. Here's the thing. A lot of people have knowledge. Very few people apply what they already know. I'll say that again. A lot of people have knowledge, but not very many people apply what they already know. If you apply what you already know, or what I'm going to teach you, you will flourish. Guaranteed. They often say everything you learned in kindergarten is all you need to know to get along with people in life. All right? So apply what you know. So if you ask yourself that question, so think about your top opportunity right now. Do you know what their primary challenge or problem or the cliche pain point in their business? Do you know what it is? Very clearly, do you know? If you do know, what you would do is you would in the yes column put yes, right? You actually don't put yes, you put the number 4. So the weighted score for here is yes, and that goes into this box here as a win. If you don't know what it is, and you have to be honest with yourself, right? Don't have an ego and go, yeah, I think I know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is. No. You gotta know. You have to know. If you don't know, put the 4 in the no column, it goes in the lose. So if the 4 goes in the win, you have 4 points towards winning. If it goes into lose, you have 4 points towards losing. Right? That's how simple this is. And there's 50 questions. We actually do opportunity hardening sessions on our weekly calls. They're called Thrive calls. And we'll actually have someone present this and we do a hardening session. It's like, you know, when a blacksmith takes metal and they hammer it and they hammer it and they hammer it, that's them hardening the metal by doing that. And the more they hammer it, the harder and harder and harder the metal gets. So what we do is we do a sales opportunity plan hardening session. So you fill this in, you present it to me, and I hammer it. I hammer the questions because there's actually over 300 questions I could ask. There's only 50 here. So what I mean by that is, so do you know the customer's primary challenge, problem, or pain point? You say, yes, I do. Great. Next question, what is it? And then you say, it's this. And I say, if I was to ask the customer, would they say that's their pain point? Or are you just guessing? And you go, I'm just guessing. All right, so you don't really know it then. No, 4 points to a no. All right, so we do a opportunity hardening in our calls. All right. Okay, so let's keep going here. So I'm going to jump over to the spreadsheets. Sorry, I got to turn my little doodad off here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next slide, and these are the questions. First one, you're welcome to copy these too, by the way. I want you to leave with some value. So if you want to copy these, go ahead. First question, do you know the customer's primary challenge, problem, pain points? So we already talked about that. The next little piece of information is just what do I mean by that? Now that's a pretty self-explanatory question. Some of them get pretty complex though. Here's the thing. Do you know the current business pain points the customer is having that relates to something your product or service can solve? All right. So pretty simple. If you can answer that as a yes, you get 4 points. If it's a no, the 4 points go to the no. Next. Next question. Do you know who the decision maker or the decision makers are? This is really important. And again, I would have salespeople who said, yeah, boss, I'm going to close this deal this month. Great. Let me ask you a few questions. Do you know who the decision maker is? And most, honest to God, most of the time they say no. No, I don't. So they're just dealing with an influencer. So you can read the paragraph there. So if you're not dealing with a decision maker, you're dealing with an influencer. You remember the game when you were a kid called the telephone game? And the teacher would line you up in a line, 10 kids, 20 kids, however many kids there are. And the first kid was told something. Monkeys are brown. Okay, that's what they were just told. So the teacher would whisper in the first kid's ear, monkeys are brown. And then he or she would whisper it to the next kid, and they're only allowed to say it once. You can't say it twice. So by the time you get done, it goes from monkeys are brown to donkeys are red, right? Because people mishear, they only get pieces. They say that people only remember 10% of what they hear. Today, you're only going to remember 10% of what I'm telling you. That's why we record the sessions so you can watch them after and grab the knowledge. But here, don't just collect knowledge, apply what you know, right? If you just apply what you know, you're going to do so much better. Anyway, so that's the question. Opportunity Genie, do you know the decision maker? If you know who the decision maker is, perfect. That's the first step. Do you have a UVP, unique value proposition? So there's lots of ways of saying this. Here's the thing. In most sales situations, you're competing with somebody else. So from the customer's point of view looking out, you come in and you have an offering for them. Is it unique compared to the competitors? And more importantly, is it unique compared to the competitors based on something the customer cares about, right? For example, you're going to go buy a car. You're going to go look at Toyota and you're going to look at Honda. And you're expecting your first child. You're married, you're expecting your first child. So what's important to you now? Safety, airbags, those really cool little clips that you put the baby seat in to make it easy, right? So these are important things. So you've gone online, you've done your homework, you know all about safety, you know every feature, you probably know more than the sales guy does. So you go there and say, does this have the clip-in safety things? And the salesperson says, no, it doesn't. What do? That car is gone, right? So what is your unique value proposition as it pertains to what is important to the customer? Very important in your sales cycle. And there's a lot more, there's more than one, right? There's lots. Okay, I could probably talk for an hour on that, but we won't. All right, third question of 7 we're going to cover today. Next question is, have you identified and applied active differentiation to this opportunity? So none of you are going to know what I mean by that. Active differentiation is something that I've created over the years. I didn't create it, it existed. Here's what it is. We can read what it is here, but I'm going to tell you right now. When you're in an opportunity, one of the things you're getting judged on is the experience the customer's having with you and the people that you bring forward. So most salespeople rely on their marketing department to prepare their differentiation slides. Here's what makes us different. Here's my slide on it. And they read the points. And you know what's funny? They all sound the same. We've won these awards. So is the competitor. We've got these happy customers. So does the competitor. We have these features. So does the competitor. And I can keep going, right? So from a customer point of view, CPOV, it's the same. There's one thing you can do to make the experience different. What can you physically do? Active. That's where the word active comes from. What can you physically do that will differentiate the experience the customer has and make them want to pick you? Okay, this is huge. I'll give you a really quick example. I did a big renovation of a house, my last house that we lived in, and we were getting quotes from contractors. Now, this was like a $400,000 renovation, huge rebuild of a house. First contractor comes in. Yeah, I see what you want to do. Perfect. I'll write it up, give you a quote. Here's my sheet of all my customer testimonials. Here's how we approach it. Here's our happy customers. Here you go. Here's the price, $410,000. Great. I like the guy. I like what he said. He's got references. Perfect. The next guy comes in and says, okay, I can see exactly what you want to do. Yep. Hang on a second. The last renovation we did in this neighborhood, we found there was a lot of lead pipes hidden in the walls. And you're wanting to take the internal walls out to have an open concept. Let me go. I've got this machine that I use to x-ray the wall. Let me go do that. So he takes the machine, puts it on the wall. Oh, there it is. There's a pipe right there. All right. So if you want this wall removed, that's going to be an extra cost. Or we can reroute and make a pillar. Blah, blah. But anyway, so you're going, man, like that guy didn't know that pipe was there. If he didn't, if he did, he didn't tell me. I like this guy. So your experience working with someone who's taking that extra step, is doing that extra piece, it's amazing. I actually had a customer where it was a retail customer, and I actually went to their store and acted like a customer. And I measured how they handled me. And I went back and I met with the president of the company. And this is a true story. And I went back and said, okay, here's my experience as a customer. And I was a customer before anyway. I bought stuff from you in the past. But I went in, here's my experience. Here's how you can improve that. Here's how I can help you. Okay, active differentiation. I might write a book on it one day. It's powerful. Learn how to do it for your product, for your industry. Next question, opportunity genie question. Do you have a competitive advantage in this opportunity? So a competitive advantage goes back to that unique value proposition. What is your advantage over your competitors? Can you manufacture one? Doing active differentiation. If you just do these three things and deal with the decision maker, like the first question, you guys, you are head and shoulders above other sellers. But here's what's happening. You go out and you know all those opportunities, the 50% that aren't closing, you're so busy working on those. You don't have time to do this, right? That's probably what you're thinking. Rob, I don't have time to do that. I'm telling you, if you do some of this stuff, your win rate's going to go through the roof. Absolute through the roof. Guaranteed. I'm telling you. I've done it myself. My team has done it. So just apply this thing. All right, next question. Next question. Do you have a clear win theme for this opportunity? All right, so win theme. What's a win theme? A win theme, if you're in a position where you're selling with a group of people, so let's say you have yourself as the salesperson, maybe you have some kind of a pre-sales type person that comes with you, or the owner of the company comes with you. There's someone else involved in helping you sell to that customer. That's a pretty common thing in B2B sales. You all have to be on the same page. So just like preparing to do a webinar, you've got to have a plan. You got to have a script. You got to have a story, right? You got to have, what is your win theme? So the win theme is, what are we going to do? How are we going to win this opportunity? Because that is what you're going to focus on when you're on the call. So I remember, so I'm in Canada, and I had a big deal for a corporation that was connected to the government. And what was important to them is dealing with a Canadian company. So I found out who my competitors were, and all of them were not Canadian. We went in, and we had Canadian flags and everything. So we used that as part of our win theme because we knew that was very important to them. So there's my UVP. Part of my UVP was being Canadian because that was important to them. If it didn't matter, then I wouldn't have talked about it much, right? So guys, these are the little things that these are so intuitive. You can pick them out of sales books you're going to read. But again, applying the knowledge you have is the most important part. Okay. Next genie question. I love this. This is fun. Okay, here's one. This is a mindset one. So have you heard of imposter syndrome? Right? So imposter syndrome is where, I'll put it in my words. Imposter syndrome is where you actually don't even believe. You feel like you're pretending, right? So maybe you're in sales and you're selling a complex product or service, and you don't really understand it fully, right? So you got to bring I call them smart people. You got to bring a smart person with you to explain it. So you've got this feeling of I'm an imposter, right? I don't really know this stuff and I should. So that's a common one. Imposter syndrome plagues most people. And it comes from a belief, whether it's true or not. It's a belief you have for some reason. And a lot of times they're triggered from experiences from your childhood, trauma from your childhood, stuff like that. And so part of the work that I do in my program is to help people identify what those triggers are, what those traumas are, what those experiences are that manifest these beliefs in your brain that prevent you from showing up and being who you need to be. And it's the number one reason why people who take my program shift. Even in the first week, they start shifting because we focus on that. So anyway, you go through the opportunity genie. So this is 7 of the 50 questions. And when you're done, it gives you a score at the bottom. So the total score is 150. That's the maximum. So if you got every question a yes, it would equal 150 points. Now, for this sample one that we did, this lucky salesperson has a score of 132 in the yes, the green, and 18 in the no, the lose column, all right? So then it includes this little grid, and it says, if you're between 131 and 150, you've got enough to close the deal. Go get her. If you're between 81 and 130, you're on the fence, right? So what you need to do is go back and turn the no's into yeses. If you're below 80, you should most likely walk away from that opportunity and go focus on something else, all right? So luckily in this case, this person, they're going to win that opportunity. So that's really, really good news. So why is this powerful? Why is this different than some of the sales training you've probably had in the past? Well, if you haven't caught on to this yet, the biggest part, mindset. So we focus a lot on mindset, having the right mindset, identifying the keys that are blocking you, and removing those things so you can actually unleash, okay? And giving you powerful tools like the Opportunity Genie that turn you into a rock star master seller, right? That's what we do. So if you have a salesperson that gets regular coaching, and I'm saying deal coaching here, deal coaching. So you have an opportunity and someone coaches you on that opportunity. You're 63% more likely to be a top performer by closing those deals. Now, if for most of you, you probably either have a sales manager or if you're an entrepreneur, you have yourself and maybe some others, but you don't have anyone to actually be that deal coach. And if you do, maybe they don't have the level of experience I'm talking about that have spent their career doing this. So that's why I've created the program, and I call this program CALM, C-A-L-M. Clear, Authentic Learning Methodology. That's what CALM stands for. So it's the CALM Sales Training Program. And when we came up with the name, some people go, calm. How is it calm? It's calm because you're not wasting your time on 50% of the opportunities. You focus on the ones that matter. You have a very clear approach. You're not overly aggressive or assertive. You're going in there with a high degree of confidence, but you're going in and you're matching and mirroring your customer. So the CALM training program is 8 weeks long. It's self-paced. It's a video and a workbook, self-paced course. And I combine that with a community because the calm is the knowledge. And if you're like most people, you'll get knowledge and then you'll go back, like that stat said, you'll go back and forget it after 90 days, right? So you've wasted your time and energy and money even. Well, I don't want you to do that. So what we've done is we have a community called Thrive. So the calm is the what. You get the Opportunity Genie, the full 50 question Genie. You get all the mindset tools that help you identify what your mindset blocks are. Strip it away so that it's gone, so you can actually perform as a seller. And you do those 2 things. You do that and you use the Genie, your win rate is going to go through the roof. So the community is we meet weekly, and I've included 16 weeks of that coaching. It's a group coaching call. So you do your module in the CALM training program. I ask you to do 1 per week. So it's an 8-week program. If you want to do it quickly, you can do it in 4 weeks. And then when you're done, you actually join. Sorry, we're not done. When each week you come to the Thrive class, the coaching call, And that's where we help you embody what you're learning, apply what you're learning, ask questions, see the other people succeeding or not succeeding. And in fact, I'm going to ask Adrian if he can come on camera here, because the students that we've got going through this program right now are having really, really good successes. And I've asked Adrian to join us and be able to talk about that for a second. So Adrian, if you can come off mute
Hello.
and share your screen. Hello,
Hi, Rob. Hi,
how are
everyone.
you?
Good.
Thanks
Pleasure
for
to be here.
joining us.
Thanks for hosting.
Yes. Well, I won't keep you on here too long and ask a ton of questions, but I wanted you to just share your experience so far. Maybe a bit of background, kind of who you are, what you do, why you joined the COM program, and what your experience has been so far, Adrian.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Adrian Gomez, and I'm a serial entrepreneur in the electric mobility space. So I've been selling for the past 10 years in various ways for small and large organizations. Never really had formal sales training and really struggled against myself in, landing opportunities. So that kind of led to some, you know, success that kind of went up and down like that. Mostly early startup stuff, finding product market fit, but it just really felt like a struggle. So I was looking for a program that could give me some of the sales foundations and also help me be more confident and calm when I sell.
I love that word, calm.
I didn't get it at first. I thought it was a little strange to use the word calm,
Yeah.
but it's really nice when you can actually sit in front of a client and not be stressed out.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, right? It puts you in control and it gives you the confidence and the tools that you can approach each opportunity with a very, very with a prescription for success. So, and I think so when it comes to the mindset stuff, I don't know if you can double click on the mindset piece a bit more. How has that been for you?
Sure. Yeah. I was a first generation immigrant, so I kind of came with this mindset around money that it hasn't been really helpful for me when I sell. My tendency was to undersell or give discounts to just try to close the deal quickly. And going through the program has helped me really kind of understand that our mind creates our reality. I mean, if
Mhm.
you look around, right, everything you're picking up is in your brain, and the way that you think really influences the way that you act. So since developing my own, personal thriver vision and going through some of these mindset exercises, pushing back on clients, selling at a higher price and focusing on explaining the value and building that relationship with a client, as opposed to immediately resorting to discounts to make myself feel comfortable.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, so when you signed up, did you think you needed help with mindset?
I have a personal interest in mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah.
I just didn't really understand how important it was to apply it in sales,
Yeah.
and it's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Adrian. No, I went through that myself, right? So I read the book way back and I didn't see it as a mindset book or anything like that. I just saw it as something to help me get through where I was struggling. So I started applying that learning way back, 26 years ago now. And since then, I became a student of the 12 natural laws, law of attraction, manifestation, those concepts. And I'm telling you, not that long ago, I really felt the word manifestation. It was like voodoo. It's like, really? Like I sit here and think about something and it happens? Like that sounds like, no, that's crazy. I work hard. I go and do things and I'm a successful salesperson. I make it happen, right? But then I started to realize that's not what manifestation is. You don't sit there and hope or think something's going to happen and it magically falls out of the sky. That's not manifestation. Manifestation is leveraging the imagination that you have, right? The ability to imagine something and then creating a vision for that thing you want. Successful deal, successful business, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter what it is. And then you use your humanness to believe in that rather than letting these trauma-based childhood things that are there for all of us hold us back. So that's what manifestation is. Vision, identify the things that are holding us back, even if you don't know what they are, or even if you don't even think you have any, you do. And then all of a sudden, boom, you start to shift. So that's what you've experienced. And how many weeks have you been in the program so far? If I
I think we're on week 6,
week
is it?
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we do for everyone, it's an 8-week program, and I ask you to go through it twice, right? And so it's 16 weeks. You can do it in 4 weeks, and then the Thrive calls go on for the full 16 weeks, and then you can extend that if you want to. So Adrian's in week 6, and in week 1, he was shifting already. In fact, we have something called rapid transformation, or rapid win. So a rapid win is basically in week 1 of the program, we ask everyone to come forward with a win they've had already from the material, and pretty much everyone has one in their first week, no matter how little it is. So it's pretty powerful stuff. You shift pretty quick. Anyway, Adrian, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, being transparent and authentic in that way. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
and Rob, if I can just share one more thing, because I know you talked about, actual tactics and the questions you can ask. And I had a mentor that taught me the BANT framework. And so I would kind of run through the checklist of, do you have budget? Do you have authority?
yeah,
And I was missing the main point, which is you are connecting with another human. And if you can be present in the moment and let your fears not, get in the way, you
hmm
can actually have much more meaningful discussions about these things and you can push back. And that's been something that I've gained from the program as well. So
yeah.
just wanted
No,
to
you know what?
mention that.
That's great insight. Very, very profound.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's so BANT stands for Budget, Authority, Need, Time Frame. It's one of the most used sales methodologies, if you will, for qualifying leads and things like that. And I could talk for an hour on why I think that's an okay framework. Is if you have something, use it, right? Rather than nothing. But there's such a better way. It doesn't allow you to get into what you should do. So if they don't have budget, what do you do? Do you just walk away? That's, they don't have budget, leave, right? There's a lot of things you can do when it comes to budget. Authority gets into who's the decision maker and that type of stuff, right? What are their needs? That's the N in BANT. Time frame, when are they making a decision? So those are great for qualifying leads from a marketing point of view, but for a person in sales, you need a lot more than that. And that's what the Genie delivers to you. So thanks, Adrian. Okay, what I'd like to do is offer you. I know some of you are going to go, well, I'm not ready to sign up for a program. Some of you are going to go, I'm ready. Like, I need to finish my year strong. I'm ready to do something, and the other things I'm doing isn't working. So I'm offering you something if you decide to join the program by end of day tomorrow, Friday, midnight. And Erica, who's my assistant, is here. She's going to put a code into the chat. I'm pretty sure everyone can get the chats. So Erica, if you can do that now, that'd be great. So the Calm training program is $3,800 US. The Thrive weekly group coaching call for 16 weeks adds up to $788 for a total of just over $4,500. So I'm going to remove the cost for Thrive, and we're doing the total package for $3,800. So if you pay $3,800, you get the Calm training program and you get the 16-week coaching calls. You get the Genie included in the Calm course, and you'll be able to apply that information now. Now it's October, so if you go through the program quickly in 4 weeks' time, you'll be at the point where Adrian is. He's going through it the normal pace, but if you go through it quickly, you'll actually be at the point where Adrian's at in 4 weeks from now, maybe even a little less if you want to go really quick. Come on the coaching calls each week. You get 16 of those, and you get to actually get my personal help on winning a deal. Like you win a deal from this cost of this program. I'm going to keep increasing the price as we go along. I think it'll be a $10,000 course eventually, but right now we're charging the 3,800 plus the Thrive call. So get in on it now. It's going to be $3,800. The link's here. You're going to get an email sent after to all of you that have registered for this event so that you can click and join if you choose to. The other thing I'm going to do is I've worked with an actual hypnosis person. Her name's Renya. She's a master hypnosis person, and she has helped me create meditation audios. And so, because one of the things we do is help you eliminate these beliefs that get in your way of success, if you just listen to this audio, you just go quiet place, close your eyes, and listen to it with your earbuds on or whatever, and it will by itself start to reprogram those negative things. So it's an actual hypnosis video, or sorry, audio. It's a meditation audio, and I'm gonna send you one of those for free as well. All right. So if you join by midnight tomorrow night, I'm gonna do that. Erica, are you there? Can you talk for a second? I was talking to Erica before the call, and I said I wanted to create even more of an incentive as well. Are you there, Erica?
Yep.
Okay. So Erica and I discussed what else can we do? So we're going to actually offer a 10% reduction on the price of the course if you decide by tomorrow by midnight. So Erica's going to put a link that gives you a 10% off the cost of the program. So instead of 3,800, it would be 10% less than that. So one-time payment, you get in, you get started. You can start right away. You don't have to wait. And then you'll get on the call next. So the calls are on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, the Thrive calls. So you get to come on those calls next week. So if you join Friday, you can do one module over the weekend. And on the Tuesday next week, you're right into the coaching right away. And then what we're going to do is I want that audio you're going to get to. You can listen to the audio over the weekend too. And we can start working on deals together. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, just to
Erica's,
clarify, Thrive calls are Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m.
what did I say?
Thursday.
Sorry. Tuesday
Today's Thursday.
mornings at 11 are my these calls, the Elevate calls are on Thursday. See guys, this is why you have an operations VP so that they can make sure that everything's done properly. Thanks, Erica. So if you can put that code in there, and then we'll send it out in the email as well, just in case the chat doesn't work properly here.
Yep. So
All
we've
right.
got that Elevate discount link up there. That's the one that says Elevate 10. And then we've got the free audio link as well. And that says audio free at the end. So
Okay. Is there any questions in the panel at all there? Because I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has. I hope you grabbed those questions that I shared earlier because those are real powerful questions. If you just apply them, you'll start winning deals on it like now. But hopefully we'll see some people join the program. Now I know some of you aren't ready to do something like that, and I understand that. At least get close to me. Consume my free material. Go to my YouTube channel. We're continuing to build stuff out there. Get close to me, get close to my community, learn how to do this. Even if you don't learn from me, learn how to do this. Learn how to control your thoughts, learn the most optimum way to sell, and go take control of your sales career. You're in one of the most amazing careers you can be in possible. You get to help drive the company forward. It's really awesome. So if you're stressed out, don't be. If you can afford the program, please join. I tried to make it a bit easier for you to afford by offering these discounts. And if you want, in the email, I'll send a link to my Calendly. If you just want to talk to me and see what it is going on in your career, in your life, maybe you might not feel the program's right for you. Maybe there's something else. I'm happy to have a call with you to see what that is. So that's it for me. Hope you have a great day, everybody. And we will send that stuff out shortly. Have a good one.